When I feel the world pushing, my shelter will fall. I'll see the dark clouds. I'll see the dark clouds.
Melbourne, Australia was a different place during World War II. Between 1941 to 1945, nearly 1 million American soldiers would pass through Australia. Many soldiers would be stationed in Melbourne. Australia was under threat of invasion by the Empire of Japan. There was a fear of Melbourne being bombed. This fear was heightened when the Japanese bombed Darwin, killing 243 people. The lights of some Australian cities can be seen from as far as 50 miles. To try to limit the city being easily spotted by Japanese planes, the Melbourne government implemented what was called a brownout. This brownout meant that only one street light in 4 was lit, and the lights that were on were dimmed to at least 50%. Though the lights were out, Melbourne's night scene was teeming with life. By April 1942, some 30,000 American service personnel were stationed in Melbourne. However, danger was lurking within these dimly lit streets. On the 3rd of May, 1942, 40-year-old Ivy Violet McLeod was found in Albert Park, Melbourne. She had been beaten and strangled. 6 days later, 31-year-old Pauline Thompson was strangled after a night out. She was last seen in the company of a young man who was described as having an American accent. These murders shocked the city of Melbourne, and the unknown assailant was quickly dubbed the Brownout Strangler. May 18, 1942. 15 days had passed since the first murder. A woman is walking along a quiet, dimly lit city street. Suddenly, a man approaches her. He is out of breath and covered with mud. He asks for directions and quickly disappears. The woman goes about her business, thinking nothing of the situation. The next day, she hears the news that the Brownout Strangler has struck yet again. 40-year-old Gladys Hosking was murdered just like the 2 victims before her. She was walking home from work at the chemistry department at the University of Melbourne. This last bit of information was important for the woman, as she recalls she ran into this dishevelled man the night before, which was a very short distance from where the 3rd victim was found. She quickly took this crucial bit of information to the police. She was asked to pick a man out of a lineup of American soldiers, and had no problem identifying the man she saw. 24-year-old American soldier Eddie Leonsky was arrested. After being questioned by police, he quickly confessed to the murders. He was charged for the murders of Ivy Violet McLeod, Pauline Thompson, and Gladys Hosking. The Brownout Strangler was apprehended. Throughout the police interrogation, Eddie Leonsky divulged some rather disturbing information. When asked why he murdered these women, Eddie explained that he killed these women in order to get their voices. He appeared to have a twisted fascination with female voices, especially when they were singing. For one of his victims, he explained, "I wanted that voice. I choked her." Though it became clear that Eddie was deeply psychologically disturbed, army psychiatrists deemed him sane and fit to stand trial. Leonsky was convicted on July 17 and sentenced to death by hanging. He remains the first and only foreign citizen to have been tried and sentenced to death in Australia under the law of his own country. The brownout lasted for 18 months, ending in July 1943. The lights of Melbourne were shining once again as the city emerged to face a vastly different world.